All right. Fresh out of after a workout and then getting on the road here, going to get some business done, break some bread with like-minded business to business relationship building people. That's what we're about to do here in a few moments. But the war, the things that are happening right now that we do not realize. And it is a war. Man, we're in such a fight right now. And I'm talking about from a economic and political standpoint. If you believe in the United States of America, a constitutional republic, whether or not it has been sold out by the elite and became United States Inc., that is yet to be determined. And I know that that's pretty scary to people and a conspiracy theory, but let's see how this plays out. But Martin Niemöller is one of the great quotes coming out of the Hitler, Nazi atrocities of Germany. And again, that tragedy is in the 20th century, because you could argue that in Burma, they've been killing more people, committing more genocide, as an example, than what Hitler got a chance to, but it's been over a longer period of time. So he's either third or fourth in the 20th century of causing the deaths of the most people. Stalin is number 2 and Mao is number 1. What does Stalin and Mao have in common? Obviously, Marxist in its base. So Martin Niemöller, this is his quote, and it sums up World War II, what had happened, and it still is true today. Quote, "At first they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the Catholics, and I did not speak out because I am not Catholic. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me." This man is past, but out of respect, we will credit him with a great summation of not just then, but today. Freedom of speech, to be able to express, to have real dialogue, conflicting comments and interests. It is social hypothesis, not just science. We need to be able to have these conversations, especially in the public square, so more people can see, well, I like what that person's saying, or I like what that person. I'm not about creating hatred or violence ever. Please look back through these videos. The thing is that all of these things that are going on is to capture our attention away from what's really happening. I've mentioned it many times before. The Great Reset, it is upon us. Just think about what I mentioned in the earlier video. 67%, thereabout, of all the dollars ever created has been done in the last 10 months. Something, and I don't believe it's going to be good, is going to happen. And I think it's by design. The elites tear down something so that we are then forced, they try to force us to say, hey, please help us. You got to help us. I read the Epoch Times every day. And this is from January 26th. It's the editorial board. Following a highly contested election, our nation needs to find unity as tensions remain high and divisions run deep. We suggest Americans can find unity by coming together to oppose an enemy who has decades sought our nation's destruction, and by renewing the tradition that has helped to shape and guide our nation. At stake is more than America's well-being. The United States is the leader of the free world, and the unity or division of the United States and its prosperity or decline is vital to the destiny of the world's people. Americans need to understand that the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, is the biggest threat to the United States. The CCP has systematically worked to undermine the United States, an effort that has now nearly completed. The CCP has not only gutted American manufacturing, stolen intellectual property worth hundreds of billions each year, and stolen military technology, but has also infiltrated every aspect of our lives. The CCP strategy is to divide society by inciting hatred. This is the same strategy it used to seize power in China, pitting one group against another. For instance, CCP-related groups helped foment the riots in our big cities this past summer. With Huawei's promotion of its 5G services, the CCP is trying to get into our telecommunications, which is the nervous system of our country. With Baidu and the Chinese regime's version of GPS, its ability to target satellites. The CCP has developed the ability to blind our military. By recently mounting pressure on Australia, the CCP is seeking to break the West alliance aimed at countering the party's influence. With the Belt and Road Initiative, which many nations have joined, the CCP is trying to build an economic and military base to counter the free world power of the United States. The communist regime has never stopped regarding the United States as its number one enemy. In fact, U.S. opinion recognizes the importance of countering China. One big reason that people voted for Trump in 2020 is that they believed he stood up to China and defended America. One big reason people voted for Biden is that they believed Biden could control the CCP virus better. There is a consensus in Congress for countering the CCP. If President Biden can adhere to the anti-communist line, he can protect the country under a policy that brings right and left together. Unfortunately, the United States' ability to adopt a strong anti-communist policy is hampered by the ways in which the CCP has affected our culture. Communists have sought to weaken the West by weakening its morality, tradition, family, and foundation in the belief in God. 35 years ago, KGB defector Yuri Bezmenov had already warned that the Soviet Union's efforts to undermine America. Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without even being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism and American patriotism, Bezmenov said in a 1985 interview. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already, most of it done by Americans to Americans, thanks to the lack of moral standards, end quote. Well, we are now seeing the results of this decades-long demoralization process. It is all around us in our schools, in the news media, in movies, and in music, and even in the advertising we see. Bezmenov warned, quote, "A person who is demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, with real legitimate facts, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him a concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When the military boot crashes him, Then he will understand. But not before that. That is the tragedy of the situation of demoralization. Fortunately, America has resources available to help us escape this tragedy. America's tradition provides the nation's moral and political principles, its heroes, and its narratives to explain to Americans who they are. This binds Americans together in a common purpose that uplifts them and gives them purpose. During the BLM and Antifa riots over the summer, these radical groups took direct aim at America's tradition. About 188 statues were destroyed in 2 months, including those of our founding fathers George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, as well as Jesus Christ and the Virgin Mary. In such efforts as the New York Times 1619 Project, one sees an attempt to delegitimize our tradition, to recast the entire American story as being about the sin of slavery. This is a typical communist strategy. Such well-planned, well-executed actions to destroy a country's tradition have been repeated in all communist regimes before. The wiping out of the memory of our history and the trashing of our heroes and the great symbols of our national life causes people to lose direction. A nation loses its guiding spirit. That begins a country's clear decline. On one side of our coin currency appears the slogan, "In God we trust." On the other, "E pluribus unum," Latin for "out of many, one." The two are related. America was founded by individuals seeking the opportunity to worship God freely. Our nation, trusting in God, has been blessed. We have been a beacon of freedom to the world, enjoyed unprecedented prosperity, and helped to spread prosperity around the world. In our Declaration of Independence, we state that our rights are a gift from God. We recognize that our freedoms and the limitations on those freedoms come from a source above us. That common source and the rights and duties it bestows gives us a basis for principled unity. Our tradition, in cherishing families, teaching morality, and honoring patriotism, further articulates that unity. Under assault from communism, our nation is at a crossroads. Every individual, from all walks of life, including those in government, big tech, the media, and corporations, needs to make the right choice. The solution to this crisis is clear. Our nation needs to revive the living tradition that gives us our freedom and our unity, and to use the renewed strength to decisively defeat communism. Thank you to the Epoch Times editorial board. I feel inspired reading that once again. Please research that article if you want to use it and share it with somebody else. One day, I will be able to add the link to those articles to this format. I am learning slowly but surely. We will progress in a way that you can then read that article on your own instead of me reading it to you. I want to say that I love America. These conversations need to take place on a regular basis, and not to divide us, but to unite us. I am told on a regular basis about how many mistakes Donald Trump made. The people that want to continue to talk about all of the faults of the man in that ring of competition. Donald Trump, to me, in the face of all obstruction, more obstruction known than any president in our history, Donald Trump, to me, is the greatest president of all time in comparison. Not divisive. Only because they kept telling you, you don't like tweeting, you don't like Twitter? Well, guess what? That's media technology. Everybody praised President Obama. We didn't know what he was doing. He didn't speak to the press for a 6-month straight period. Donald Trump, we knew exactly. Troy, thank you very much for pointing that out. Even before he became president, you said on the river, well, like him or not, you don't have to worry about what he's thinking because he's telling you. Let's continue to pray for our country. Let's continue to pray that we can unite and be a constitutional republic, that our liberties, because the world's population, I'm not talking about whether or not a government in some other country likes us or likes what we stand for. That elite globalism concept, I'm talking about the people, the yous and the me's in other countries. They're rooting for us. They want to see us come out of this stronger at the end. I say we can do it. Let's continue to have conversations that support these truths. God bless us all. God bless America, we pray. God, hear our prayers. Thank you for tuning in. Please share this with somebody else. I hope you continue to find value in what I'm presenting here. Thank you. I am James Detroit, and for now, I'm out.